Hi, this is Dr. Graves from the CSUN Geography Department, and this is part 2 of the Census Bureau / County Business Pattern download tutorial. When we left off, I was showing you how to download data for 2 different years. We had already created a file, and this is entitled CA_CPB whatever, but that stands for California County Business Patterns 2012 to 2017, and we're looking at single-family home builders. So hopefully you've already done that and you've got this download. So I'm going to move this over out of the way for a moment, and this is where we left off with part 1, where we had downloaded an analogous data, nearly the same stuff, for the county business patterns for 2017. Once again, we have 2 rows of data at the top, and we really only need 1. So once again, I'm going to delete row 2 by clicking on the 2. Click on the delete button, which gets rid of the entire row. Now, if I bring my original file back and I highlight across the top, I can see that I have 22 rows of data. And just by eyeballing this, I can tell that I don't have nearly the same number. I only have 17 rows of data. So that's going to make these a little bit hard to compare. So the first thing I'm just going to take a look at what's missing or what's additional. And the thing that jumps out to me right off the bat are that we have these extra columns here in the 2012 data that does not exist in the 2017 data. So in the 2017 data, we have the NAICS codes right here, and then next to it, it has the label. But in the 2012 data, we have the NAICS code in column D, and then these sort of 4 rows of data that are extraneous. We don't really need those. So click on Home, highlight that by clicking and dragging E, F, G, H, or whatever columns you want to get rid of, and then we want to click delete. So that narrows it down a little bit. This is our master file. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight these columns a little bit with the things that we really need. So these first 2 columns we could make pink if you wanted, or maybe don't even need that, because those are the geographic ones. And then these 2 columns here, which are the NAICS codes, the North American Information Classification System, we can make those green. You can pick any color you want. We definitely need this column here, column J. So I'm going to highlight it, and I could make that beige. And then the year, make that brown, and so on. Establishments, we're definitely going to use that data, so maybe I'll make that one pink again. And then number of employees, so those are some of the other data that we may want to look at, is the annual payroll, and I'll make that one green. Employees, for example, maybe I'll make that one brown. I'm going to go over and do the same for this downloaded data before we copy it over. So these, the geographic things, once again, we'll make those pink. And then if I jump over here, the NAICS codes, we made those, we made that green. What did we do with the others? The year, we made that one brown. Or was that neutral? There. And I'm going to continue to do that, but I'm going to pause while I line these all up. Okay, so I think I have everything sort of color coded, and you don't have to do this if you're paying attention to what you're doing closely, but for demonstration purposes I think that it is useful. So what I want to do next is press Control A, which selects the entire data block. I'm going to press Control C, which copies it all, and this again is the 2017 data. And then I'm going to go over to my master file here, and I'm going to scroll to the bottom, leave a few rows, and press Control V to paste in my new columns of data from 2017. And what I can see is that most of this data lines up perfectly, doesn't it? And so here's the only ones that don't line up particularly well is over on the right hand side. You see the mismatched colors. So since I don't need 2 rows of 2012, I'm going to highlight those cells, and I'm going to click Delete Cells. And that's going to bring up this little prompt that says, what do you want to do with it? Shift the cells left? Yes, that's great. Shift them left. So now I have just 1 row of year 2012, and the establishments are in the same place, but notice what the census did, which is extremely unhelpful. But they, I don't know why they do these things, but now they've shifted the order in which the payroll and employees come in. So what I'm going to do very quickly here is to highlight these columns of data, press Control X to move them. I'm going to move them over to the right of the employee data, and then I'm going to highlight it again, Control X, move, paste it back in. So that is reasonably well lined up. And then since for right now, if I go up here, employee in, these are lined up, but the annual payroll is still off. It's in 2012, it's the end of the quarterly payroll. And so once again, we may want to Control X and move this around so that it all lines up correctly. Now, everything is lined up. What a hassle. Now we're going to we need to get rid of some data. So one, we don't need in 2012 they gave you the statewide totals, which is nice but unnecessary. So highlighting those rows, Alt, Edit, Delete, got rid of those. And then I'm getting rid of these other extraneous rows of data as well. So click Delete. And now I have a single block of data that has everything I want. Notice that I left row A open. I'm going to press type ID in cell A1 and put a number 1 in cell A2. Scroll down to the bottom of the entire data block, and then highlight up. So you just want to highlight that, and you want to fill that data. This is just a best practice. So click on fill, select series, select step value as 1 is the default, click OK. This allows us to, if we sort things or do move things around, we can always sort it back by its sort of pristine or original format. So the last thing we're going to do here is to we're going to select everything, and we want to put this in a pivot table. So I press Control A to select all, click Insert, click Pivot Table, click OK. Now we have a second window that has a pivot table in it, and it's I've already done this once, so it's sheet 3. So a couple of the things that we would like to do with this is we're going to select Geo Title, which is the county name. So we're going to drag that down into the row box. There we have our 58 counties. And what do we want? Well, we want to put the year in the column. So we have 2 years, 2012 and 2017, plus the grand total. We want to grab establishments because that's what we're checking, how many businesses are in here. And we're going to click and pull this down into the sum of values box. And next we want to grab the employee sizes. Well, it's employee sizes title here. We want to click and drag that into filters box, and over here we want to just select all establishments. So if we click the down arrow here and select all establishments, click OK, that changes it. So now we're not double counting anything. And then the last thing we want to add is the NAICS code for, it says 2012, but it's for all of the years. And we're going to move that here. So now what it gives us, except now let's just switch these around. So NAICS code is at top and year is at bottom. So this is our grand finale here. What we have is the number of total businesses per county in 2012 and 2017 in these 2 columns, and then over in these columns are the number of single-family home builders in each county. You see some counties have nothing because they have no home builders. That, you know, small counties like Alpine, they've got 43 businesses in 2012 and 2017, 37. And 1 builder in 12 and 0 in 2017. So now that we have this, the last step that we're going to do is we're going to highlight this data, press Control C, and we're going to add yet another sheet here, and then we're going to paste, but we're going to paste only the values because we don't want all of the formulas and everything. Just paste values, and now we are ready to do some calculations on this data, and that would be part 3 or part 1 of the location quotient tutorials.